Okay, today I will show you how to write a Visual Basic program in Visual Studio 2015, a creative program, how to develop an algorithm and also implement it. I presume first that you have Visual Studio 2015 installed already on your computer. And the one I am using here is Visual Studio 2015 Express Edition, and I already have it open here, and I will go to the file first and the new project, and highlight Visual Basic, because there are other programs like Visual C++ and Visual C#, but we want to use Visual Basic today. So highlight it and say OK. Then you will have the design view of the new project opened. We have to wait a little bit. My computer is slow and the program itself, the Visual Studio itself is slow. Okay, now we have the blank design form. Here, today I will write a program where two friends who go to a tour, say for example Disneyland, and they have to share their expenses equally. That is the deal at the end of the day. First, let me have some user interface here, and in this case the user interface is consisted of only one button. For this, go to View and then Toolbox, and we need a button, so I will say button. So what this program does is, two friends go on a tour, for example a Disneyland tour, 1-day tour, and the deal at the beginning was that the expenses will be shared equally. But once they are in the Disneyland, they say, let us call them A and B, friend A and B, two persons, and A paid for the breakfast and B paid for the tickets, A paid for the lunch, and B paid for the snacks. At the end of the day, the expenses are tangled up, but they have to figure out how to share those expenses. In this case, first we will come up with an algorithm for this problem and then code it. When I say algorithm, it is the set of instructions that we want to give to the computer to resolve this, to calculate the amount that they have to exchange. First, in this case, let us figure out the algorithm first. Probably you know what the simplest way to do is when these things are tangled up like this. First, add up the amount that A spent and also add up the bills that B paid. And then A would say to B that, okay, I spent $50, give me back 25. And B would say, well, I spent $80 and give me back $40. So basically A would give to B $40 minus $25, which is equal to $15. So the algorithm will be, we will calculate the difference and divide it by 2 and calculate what we call balance. That balance will be paid by the person who spent less to the person who spent more. So let me write down these instructions first as an algorithm. So first, add up is expenses, and the next step will be add up these expenses. The third step will be calculate the balance, that is difference minus divided by 2. Display the message how much will be paid to who. That would be the algorithm or the set of instructions that we will give to the computer. Now let us code it. If you can write the algorithm and also code it, we can really come up with better program products. But although theoretically algorithm can be developed outside of a program, outside of the code, now let us implement it. For this, what I will do some things here, follow me, and I will later explain to you why I did them. Okay, first I would write a couple of statements here. First one is option explicit on, and the second statement is option infer on. What I am telling the program is that I will not declare the variables, but conclude them based on the way I use them. This way we can actually develop the program without losing our creativity, and then we can make once the program becomes functional, we can make it robust by actually declaring them. And for this, the variables we need is, I will first write 2 loops to add up each one's expenses. The first loop would say do while a not equal to a not equal to 0. A is a variable which will actually represent the expenses, A's expenses that are entered into an input box. So do while while A is not equal to 0, what it would do is A equals input box and we would say enter A's expenses, or enter 0 when done. And A is a variable here, so we have to declare it. I will make that also under, categorize them under public so that they can be used wherever we want. So public, and I will declare it as A and comma. So now there is okay, let me see what statement cannot appear outside of a nothing body. Okay, do while A not equals to A. This statement cannot appear. No. Let us keep going and see what this error is. I do not know at this stage. And then A equals into box, and I will also create another. Here's let me see what this error is saying. Okay, then I will also create another variable, that is expenses. Okay. Equals expenses of A. I will put it in the parentheses. You will soon understand what I am doing here, but we have to declare these variables unless the program doesn't know what they are, whether they are integers or actually strings. So let me say A equals private public. Okay, let me, so it is not letting me A not equals to 0, it is not letting me okay. This comma is creating the problem. Yes, so let me say A equals, I will set it up at 100,000 because we are using in this while loop a condition where A is not equal to 0. So I will initialize A with 100,000. You know, it would not the expenses would not exceed that. So here this comma is also a problem. Okay, 100,000. Now everything is clear. We also have to declare this variable where I said expenses of A equals, initialize it as 0. So the errors are clear here. Do while A equals and loop, and I will this loop is done, but I will also use a message box as just for the sake of verifying how the program is functioning. I will say MSG, oh shoot, MSG box expenses of A. Okay, then I will create the second loop now. Just the best way is to copy. I will copy and paste it here. This is the second loop to add up these expenses. Okay, paste. Let me copy it again, copy and paste So we have the loop, but I will change. These are B's expenses, so I will change all the A's to B's. That is expenses of B. And this is also expenses of B. This A becomes also B. And now we have to create this variable which I have not initialized. Let me initialize also. X B and equals 0. I'm sorry, that is 0. So we initialize B also, and also we have to initialize B equals, also I will set it up at 100,000. So now we have a loop that adds up A's expenses and a second loop that adds up B's expenses. A and B represent two friends, actually, friends A and friend A and friend B who went on a tour. Okay, then now once that is done, what we have to do is a statement. Basically the algorithm is we calculate the amount that was paid by one of them in excess and divide it by 2, and the person who paid less, who spent less, will owe that amount to the person who spent more. So once the loop is over, all that we have to do is we have to write a couple of, okay, I will put a message expenses of B, that is the message box B, and now we'll write simply a couple of statements to make the program working. First statement is if expenses of X of A is greater than B, then okay, if expenses of A, what is wrong here? I don't understand. Expense of A is greater than expense of B, then what is wrong here? Work with A and must end with a matching and if. That is fine. Let us do and if later. Okay. Now, if expenses of A, which is also a variable, is greater than expense of B, then we will say MSG box and B was A and the mathematical statement here, expenses of A minus expenses of B divided by 2. Else if, and another statement, I will put another statement, else if expenses of B is greater than expenses of A, then MSG box A was ES, B and expenses of B minus expenses of A divided by 2. That's it, folks. We are done with the coding part, that is implementation of our algorithm that I wrote here. So the program must be working perfectly fine. Let me check a few things here. Ends up, everything is there, so there are no errors. And now we will, let me make it. Okay, now we will check the program in action. We want to see it in action. So debug, start debugging. It's slow. Please be patient. Okay. I am waiting for the build started. We have to see actually the program where the user interface where we can enter actually the values and this and test it. So this is the one. Now I will click the button and it says enter AS expenses. I will add 100, one bill, and another bill I will add $50. Okay, and I will enter 0 now. So AS expenses are 150 now. Okay, and these expenses 120. Let me add something. We can 100, one bill, and the second bill is 200, and I will enter 0 at this point to terminate it. This expenses enter 0 and then 0. Okay. There is something wrong with the loop, so we have to. There is no termination. So, this is terrible. This got stuck in a infinite loop because the reason was. Let me terminate debugging. It will go on to infinite loop. I don't know how to end it, so the best way is to end the program. Yes. Let me go back and try to open and see. If it is still there, what I will do is we have the loop is getting stuck. The reason might be we have to see what the reason is. Okay. And open. I will go to open project, and I didn't give any name to this project. I left it at the default. It might be the Windows application 19. Okay, this is the one. Let me go there. We have to correct the loops. The condition that we set, there is something wrong with the conditions we set. So let me, see, let us see why this loop is not getting terminated. So Okay, do while A equals not 0, B 100,000. Enter A's expenses are enter 0 when done. Enter while A and B. Wow, this is the error. This should be B. And then instead of B. Let me correct those errors. There should be everything must be B here, and A plus A, B, B plus B, expense of B. And let me see what other, why this loop is not getting terminated. A equals input box. So not equals to 0. This is 100. Until we enter 0, it won't be 0. This is do while B not equals to 0, expense of B plus B loop. Okay, let me try again to debug. I have to wait until the user interface shows up. This is the one, so button one click. Yes, expenses. One bill is $100. Okay, and the other bill is $50. Okay, and there are only two bills, so I will enter 0. Okay, that is A's expenses. Now enter. Wow, this is wrong. Okay, let me say 200. Okay, and 100. Okay, 0. Okay, okay, and A was to be $75. If we calculate, it would be true, because 300 and 150 becomes 450. So 150 plus 75 is 225, and 450 divided by 2 is 225. That program is correct. We can try it again. Let us add. There is one error though in the message. Let me try again. Okay, A spent more here, 200. Okay, and another bill is 100. Okay, and then 0. So A's expenses are 300, and B, let us put 100 one bill. Okay, and let me put 50 another bill, and 0. Terminate the expenses. So 150. 300 and 150 is 450 divided by 2 is 225. So the difference is 75. If B pays 75 to A, then it will be 225 each. So that program is correct. But probably you noticed here the enter A's expenses, and for both of them I said enter A's. So this, let me correct this as B. Okay, now I will test it again to show you. This is a perfectly functional program. We made the correction that the variable was wrongly used. Anyways, this is enter A's expenses 200 and 100. Okay, say A spent more, and 0 to terminate that. Now that is 300, and enter B's expenses. Now it is correctly asking for that. These expenses I will put only 100 and 50, or even let us say 20. Okay, and also 0, because that are the bits. So it will say B was A $90. Yeah, this is an example where you can write programs with Visual Basic programs with the Visual Studio 2050. Thank you very much for watching. Let me go.